How do you write emails that are more powerful and sell more of your products and services without seeming pushy or salesy starting today? That's what we're getting into in this video. So how do you write more powerful emails that sell more without seeming more salesy? It's actually pretty easy with tactic number 1, and that is you've got to win the battle for their attention. Think about it. When you sit down to read email, you don't open up your email looking for an email that's going to sell you something. You don't look for an ad. You're looking for an email from a friend. Look at the emails you get from your friends. What do they look like? Do they have banners in them with big 30% off symbols or giant green check marks or lots of dollar signs? No, that's not what the emails from our friends look like. The emails from our friends often are improperly formatted. They look a little rough around the edges, but they look personal and personable. Make your marketing emails look like emails from a friend. That's tactic number 1. You're winning the battle for their attention. Tactic number 2, you got to tap into their mind in this moment. Think about what your recipient is doing when they are reading that email. You're sending it at a certain time of day. Let's say you're sending it at the first thing on Monday morning, at 8 a.m. on Monday morning. Now you don't know when they'll read it. They may not read it until days later, but let's just assume they're going to read it soon after it comes into their inbox, guessing they're going to read the email at the beginning of the day and say something like, as you start your busy work day today, you're probably overwhelmed with all the things you have to do. But take a moment to think about how that stress is already affecting you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Pause. What I've done is a little bit of cold reading. I'm taking an educated guess as to what they might be thinking about. Start of a busy work day, lots of stressful things on their mind, big to-do list, too many things to do, not enough time to do all the things. This is a very common mindset. And people know they have too much stress in their lives, especially now, especially these days. So they're aware that they need to de-stress, but they're even more stressed than they ever have been. So I'm saying something that's probably going to ring true for them, and it's tapping into their mindset in the moment. Now I've won the battle for attention, and I'm speaking their language. We're synced up together. We can move on to tactic number 3. And these next tactics are actually my pastor framework for writing copy. This is a framework I created for remembering all the things that need to be in your copy, any persuasive message you send, whether it's a blog post, an email, a podcast episode, or a sales page, or an ad. The pastor framework is just an outline of things you need to have in your message to make sure it's got the maximum persuasion power possible. It's not the order things come in, it's just the items you need to make sure you include in your message. It's not about being a preacher, it's about being a shepherd. And the imagery is that of the shepherd who protects the flock, who protects the sheep, makes sure they have food, water, keeps them safe from predators. And of course, we know the story. The good shepherd laid down his life for the sheep. Jesus, come on, you know the story. If you're approaching your sales messages as if you're a shepherd helping people make a good decision, even if it's to not buy from you, then you're not going to seem pushy or salesy. You're going to seem like a guide who comes alongside and protects. And that's going to be more effective for you in the long run. And it's required in today's environment. After 2020, people are a lot more sensitive to BS and pushiness and hype. You need to be genuine and helpful. So let's go through the pieces of the pastor framework. That's going to be starting with tip number 3 today. I'm going to go through these quickly. We go through this in more depth in my new copywriting course, Copywriting Mastery. You can find out more about that by going to rayedwards.com/CM2020. So what does pastor stand for? P, person, problem, pain. Who's the person you're writing to as much as you can visualize them? What's the problem you help them solve? And what's the pain of that problem in the way they experience it? Not the way you think they should, but the way they actually experience it. The A of pastor, which is tip number 4, is amplify and aspirations. We're amplifying the pain of not solving the problem. We're amplifying the cost of complacency. So if we're talking to them about their stress level and they're not doing anything about it, we can tell them, if you don't take some of the stress out of your life, you're at greater risk for heart disease, diabetes, and dementia. So you may say that's kind of harsh, but it's true. We're not allowing them to live in denial. We're amplifying the possible consequences of complacency. That is a service. And I quickly like to move from the fearful kind of negative outlook of amplifying the pain to flip it over to the aspirations. What do they actually dream could happen? And that may look like this. Imagine coming into work where you're not stressed out. You're excited about your day. You're joyful about the work you get to do, the people you get to work with, and you can't wait to get at it every day. And you know when you come home, you're going to be with your happy loving family, and life is going to be the way you always hoped it would be. That's your aspiration. So you show them the amplified pain if they don't solve the problem. You show them the aspirations they long for if they do solve it. And now we move on to the S of pastor, which is the story of struggle, the solution you found to the problem, and the system that allows anybody to use your solution to solve the problem for them. I can't go into depth with this right now. We do go into depth with it in our course. We have a whole system for telling that story. You can tell it in as little as 1 or 2 sentences. But telling a story is important. I was reading some copy to my wife, which I often do when I write for clients. I don't write for clients anymore, but when I used to. And I was reading a piece of copy to her, and finally she said, "Stop. I haven't heard a word you said for the last 5 minutes." And I was kind of hurt. I was like, "What?" She said, "It's all abstract. It doesn't mean anything to me. Tell me a story. Tell me how this worked in somebody's life." And the light bulb went on, and I realized that was it. That's what my copy had been missing. Stories. Jim Rohn says, never make a point without telling a story. And he also says, never tell a story without having a point. My point is, the greatest teachers in history did not talk about abstract ideas. They told stories. Jesus was a storyteller. We call them parables, but he told and taught stories. He taught about the man who built his house on the sand and the man who built his house on the rock. He told stories. And I just told you a story about how I learned to use storytelling in my copywriting. And it was much more helpful than the abstraction I was using before. Right? Right. It works. The T in pastor stands for testimony and transformation. So you tell the story of somebody who succeeded with your methods. One of my best copywriting students is an orchestra conductor and composer who came to me as a student of copywriting, and I thought, this guy is a PhD classical music composer and conductor. What is he doing in a copywriting class? He really wanted to get into this thing called copywriting, and he told me, I'm going to be a full-time 6-figure copywriter. And in less than 2 years, he's gone from 0 knowledge of copy, 0 experience with copy, to now he's making about $20,000 a month as a copywriter. Now, that's a story of transformation, and it's also a testimony that my stuff actually works. See how that works? The O in pastor stands for offer. What are you offering? This could be what you're offering for sale, or it could just be, if you click on this link in this email, I'll take you to a blog post or a video that'll show you more about what I'm talking about. It'll show you how to collect stories for your own copy, save them in a bank in Evernote, so you can pull them up and use them anytime you want. The point is, you want to have some kind of call to action in every email. And the R is just that, ask for a response, the call to action. Let's recap the tips I've given you so far. Number 1, make sure your email looks like an email from a friend, not an ad. Number 2, tap into their mind in the moment. Talk about what they're thinking about. Number 3 through number 8 are the 6 letters of the word pastor, P-A-S-T-O-R. Here's my bonus golden ticket tip, the one that could increase the effectiveness of your next email by a factor of 10. I know that sounds insane, but it's true. It's going to seem simple, so simple you're going to want to dismiss it. But trust me, this is powerful mojo. Every email you send should have one desired action. You're selling one thing. You're not selling the product, you're not selling the offer, you're not selling the price, you're selling the click. All you're doing in every email you send is getting them to click to go to a web page or a video that shows them what to do next, whatever that is in the sequence that you're selling with. Could be different depending on what you're selling, but you know what the next logical step in your sales cycle is. All you're selling in the email is click this link to take you to that next step. Not 5 different things they can do, like here's our newsletter, here's our YouTube, here's our Instagram, here's our product, here's some testimonies. No, you can have multiple instances of your link in your email, but all the links go to the one simple thing you want them to do next. Go watch this video, go read this sales page. One outcome and one only. Sounds counterintuitive, it's kind of scary, but if you do it, if you use this tip, you will increase the effectiveness and the power of your emails. Do it and let me know what happens. So here's my question for you in this video. What tips would you give that I missed? I'd love to hear from you. Put your comments below this video and let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to check out the next one that you see on the screen right now, which is part of our copywriting tutorial series, which is designed to help you write better copy today, so you sell more of whatever you sell today. Until next time, I pray that you prosper in all things, that you be in good health, and that you have peace for yourself and peace for your house. See you in the next video.